Today I'm in the company of the accomplished Dr. Sandra Haymon. And Sandra, during these series of interviews, I've learned so much, and our listeners and viewers tell us they have learned so much too by watching and listening to these amazing interviews because of the insight and the experience you've had over the decades. This is a very touchy and sensitive topic we're going to deal with right now that touches millions of families around the world, especially in the United States, and that is the plague, the horror of Alzheimer's and dementia. I've seen it firsthand with people, and it's scary, it's frustrating, it's terrifying. And there were times, Sandra, I just didn't know what to do or where to turn. And this is our topic for today. And I mean, it's so close to people's hearts. We're going to be watching this video, and you have some great insight for us right now.
Thank you, Marie, and it's wonderful to be back with you today. One of the most common issues that caregivers bring to me is how to communicate with their loved ones that have dementia. Perhaps they have Alzheimer's or alcohol dementia, maybe senile dementia, but their concerns are how to communicate effectively with them. And that is very difficult, especially when your loved one is operating from an entirely different realm of reality than you are. And one of the things is that delusions really serve a purpose, and that purpose is to help individuals to not be so anxious, to literally to be in a better place. And so, one of the things about delusions is that if you agree with the delusion, you reinforce it. And if you confront the delusion, you drive it deeper. And so, what to do with it? And so, I'll share with the listeners a couple of examples. My mother used to have this delusion that she had seen my Aunt May, and that's her sister. And my Aunt May had been dead for about 10 years. And so she would talk about my Aunt May coming to visit her and the long conversations that they had. And she would just go on and on about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I would listen to my mom, first of all, I don't want to reinforce that delusion, and I also don't want to confront it. So if I confronted it might look something like, well, Mom, Aunt May did not come to see you. Aunt May's been dead more than 10 years. Don't you remember whenever I took you to the funeral? And I could just go on and on trying to bring her back into my reality, but that's not likely to happen. What's going to happen there is she will become more anxious. She will become more agitated and more adamant that Aunt May did come to see her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, I don't know whether my Aunt May came or not. I'm not privy to those things on the other side of the veil. Maybe my Aunt May did come to see her, but that's not what's important. What's important is my mother believed that my Aunt May came to see her. So I'm not going to confront it. I'm also not going to agree with her. I'm not going to say, yes, I met her in the hall coming in, because I didn't see Aunt May. But what I do is I look for what that delusion represents, and it represents that she misses her sister. And so I would just simply say that. I would say, Mom, you really miss Aunt May, don't you? Tell me about the time when you and Aunt May met Daddy at that dance.
Wow.
Tell me about the time when, and pretty soon she's talking about their childhood experiences because she and her sister were very close. And she's talking about someone that she misses, someone that she loves, and we have not gotten into any conflict about whether my Aunt May came or whether she didn't. So can you kind of see how that works?
I can so see. Oh, this is transformational. This is revolutionary. I mean, Sandra, what you've been able to do in a couple of minutes on this interview has just really turned it around for me. That's a total 360 transformation. That's powerful.
Marie, my stepfather would be delusional because he and my mom both had Alzheimer's. And his delusion was he would say that he was going to take a trip. And he would say things like, when your mother's better, we're going all the way to California. And I would not confront that and say, are you nuts? You're not getting out of here. You can't even stand up without a walker. You're not going anywhere. And even if you did, Mother's not going with you. So see, I don't confront it. And I also don't agree with them. I don't say, oh yes, y'all, you're going to San Diego and the Winnebago. I don't agree with that. But I look for what that delusion represents. Him talking about taking a trip represents a happier time in his life. A time when he and my mother did take trips to California whenever I used to live in California. And so I would simply talk to him at that level, and I would say, Papa, tell me about the time when you and Mama drove to California. And pretty soon he's talking about all these trips he took as a young man, and he's at a happier time in his life, and we've not gotten into any conflict, and it allows him to escape his present environment for a few minutes or the half hour, ever how long I can talk with him about it. And so that delusion represents a need for him to go to a different place other than where he is.
Wow, Sandra, you have given people the ability to find some more peace and some really practical tips right here so they can deal with a situation that arises. I would encourage people who are affected by Alzheimer's dementia in their family with their loved ones to either repeat watching this video right now or to go to thesacredjourneyofcaregiving.com, because Sandra, it's just awesome what you're able to do for families, and I truly appreciate the gift you've given me to empower me to be able to deal with those situations better in the future. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marie. I'm just so happy to share everything that I've learned when it was my turn to take care of my parents.